Spotlighted on this public affairs show, by all means, you can email me at Stewart at radio-one.com, or you can go to praisedc.com, or you can go to Facebook, and you can check me out on Facebook, type in Sheila Stewart, and I will surely pop up. I wanted to invite someone on the show with us today. She is one of our local media extraordinaires. I love connecting with the African American press. We are the African American press here at Radio 1, and I like to spotlight and highlight the great things they are doing as a member of the African American press, and she's truly extraordinary. Her name is Cherise Matheson, and she is also works with our sister station with one of our personalities on a news talk program as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Miss Sheila. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
My pleasure. You are also, not only are you a fabulous journalist, but you're also a great woman of faith.
Yes.
Where do you attend church?
I attend the Union Temple Baptist Church in Southeast Washington, D.C.
Who's the pastor?
Reverend Willie F. Wilson and co-pastor Mary L. Wilson.
You say that so proud.
I am. I love my church family. I really do.
It's wonderful. And you're deaconess at the church?
A trustee.
A trustee.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about you for a moment. You have a very, very phenomenal blog called Savvy Cherise?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, basically, my blog is something that I started because I always had the desire to be in the space of media and entertainment, but I wasn't formally trained in the field, so I tried to figure out how I could be a part of the industry on my own without any formal training. So I started this blog kind of just as an act of faith, and I just started writing, and then I had the honor of meeting you.
Aww.
And I remember it so clearly like it was yesterday, and you checked out my blog and loved it, and from there started giving me opportunities to do some very great things and interview with some very great people, like Taraji P. Henson and Farnsworth Bentley, and from there, like, the blog just took off and blew up, and I'm so proud of it now.
How many people view your blog?
I would say I've had over 50,000 visits, so I get at least 100 to 300 visits a day.
300 a day?
Yes.
That is a whole lot. Wow. So now, who are some of the people that you spotlight with your blog?
Well, what I like to do is ask people the same question all the time, whether they're a local entrepreneur or if they're a celebrity. I ask them, what advice do they have for someone who has a dream that hasn't yet manifested itself, and how would they encourage them to stay focused on their dream even if it hasn't become a reality yet.
Clearly, that's what you did.
Yes.
That's awesome. Our spotlight guest today, again, on the African American press locally. This is something that I like to do with the Washington Afro, the Washington Informer, and today is Cherise Matheson. She is the writer of Savvy Cherise. It's a phenomenal blog, but also she's a media extraordinaire. You have background training as well when it comes to your media and ministry within your church.
Yes. What I do at church is I write about our events through my blog, and then I also produce our video channel. We do video streaming, and I do the production for that. That goes very well. I'm also just really involved in the community and the community affairs and the things that go on in the community, and I use it to incorporate it not only into my blog, but the things that are going on in my church community, and then just also in the entire DMV area.
So you enjoy spotlighting people?
I do. I love stories. I feel like people are connected to stories, and I feel like that's how you inspire people, through your testimony and through the things that you've been through, because so many people can relate, and you never know who your story will bless.
How has, when folks read your blog, and when do you get a lot of testimonials from people? And
people are really inspired. They're like, wow, I always wanted to do X.
When I first saw your blog, I said, who is this young girl? I was so impressed.
Thank you.
And not only that, I said immediately, you have a prophetic gift of writing.
You.
Have you always been a writer?
Yes, I've written ever since I was a young girl. It's so funny. I remember contemplating writing a book after reading your book. I contemplated writing a book, and I remembered when I was about 7 or 8 writing a book, and I couldn't find it, and I found it under my bed.
Okay.
And so
something that you wrote.
Wow. As a little girl. And it's so funny. I was like, wow, all this time I've been sleeping on my book, like literally, because it was under my bed. But I've always written since I was a young girl. I've always journaled. I've always just...
That's something that Oprah got me doing. I've always been fascinated with reading, because reading took me outside to see a whole different world. And reading, I was considered a bookworm, but reading now is like the in thing to do.
Reading is great, and I credit my mom so much. I love my mom. Her name is Sharon Matheson, and she, we grew up in a impoverished situation, and she would take me to the library because she didn't have a lot of money to, do fancy things for me. So we would go to the library. Like, that was our thing that we did, and that opened me up to a whole different world.
She let you see the world.
Absolutely. And it was just by virtue of taking me to a library and letting me borrow some free books. So money isn't everything.
Right. You can read, and that'll take you to Canada. They'll take you to Japan, all over.
Yep.
Our Spotlight African American Press guest today is Cherise Matheson. She has a phenomenal blog called Savvy Cherise. She's one of the top leading journalists in the D.C. metropolitan area, and often the African American press go unnoticed, but I'm making it my business to keep them out there. So I welcome you to Praise in the City here on Praise 104.1.
Thank you so
What are
much.
some of the other things you have in mind doing?
Well, right now I've been doing mentoring and coaching. I work with a group of young ladies in Baltimore with a program that's called the Gold Diggers program. That's GOAL Diggers. And we're teaching them about African ancestry and about their heritage. And the program is going to culminate with a trip to Ghana.
Wow.
So I'm really, really excited
The Gold
about
Diggers program.
Yes,
Okay.
Gold Diggers.
How can one get involved in that? How can a mom sign up their daughter, or how can a father or an uncle or aunt get their child involved?
Well, basically, this is the first cohort of the show. This is the first cohort of the Gold Diggers program. So it's going to be something that's going to be rolled out nationally, which is our hope and our prayer. But it's starting in Baltimore. And right now we already have the selected cohort of young ladies who are a part of the first class of the Gold Diggers. But once this cohort is finished, which will be in 2012, the program will be expanding, and it is our prayer that the program will be in cities across the country. So we want to have Gold Diggers in DC, in Boston, in Philly, and it's just basically a great way for young African American women from low income neighborhoods to realize that they are queens, to realize their legacy and their ancestry, and to know the history of Africa and where they came from. So it's been a really, really great program. I'm so excited about it. It's actually being made into a full feature documentary. If you want to find out more about it, you can visit www.golddiggers.us. That's www.goalddiggers.us. Where right now we're currently taking donations, and we're raising funds because we're doing a lot of great and fabulous things with the young ladies. So I'm very excited about that. I've also been coaching and helping my peers to step out on faith and to just take hold of their futures and to get fear out of the way. So I'm very excited. I'm leading a group of women. We are called Team FAB, FAB, which stands for Fearless Ambitious Boss. We are all entrepreneurs in our own right. We're mothers, we're daughters, and we're just excited about spreading the word that you can do and be anything that you want to be. Whatever you put your heart and your mind and your desires to, those things will come to pass. So much things are going on. Of course, I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old son who I love so much. His name is Maurice, and everyone either calls him Maurice or Momo. That is, of course, my heart and joy. And in addition to that, I'm just very involved in my church. I sing with the Union Temple Baptist Church Young Adult Choir, which keeps me busy. I love that. So I'm just really at a point right now where I'm just loving life. I love everything I do. I love everything about my life. Every day I wake up and I'm just happy. I'm excited. I'm inspired. I have great energy, and I just want to share it with all of those people around me and encourage people to not let fear keep you in a box, and not let fear keep you away from your dream, because God gives us all dreams. He gives us all gifts. He deposits things into our spirit, and it's our goal and our job and our responsibility to fulfill those things. So I'm just really very excited about how God is using me and all the great things that are going on in my life. As you mentioned, I also assist Easy Street. I'm his social media correspondent for his brand new talk radio show, Trending with Easy, that comes on WOL 1450 Sundays at 4 p.m. So I'm really, really excited about that. We cover a lot of different issues, from race to love and relationships. So I'm just excited about this symphony that I have been able to create in my life. Like, everything is meshing together. My entrepreneurial work, my blog, my church experience, everything is going well. So I'm just really, really excited.
That was a big mouthful. But it's just, I'm so happy for you, because I love the fact that you took a hobby and you made a hobby into a dream,
Yes.
and now it's a reality.
Yes.
Our special spotlight guest today is Cherise Matheson. She's the journalist who writes a phenomenal blog called Savvy Cherise. People can go to savvycherise.com
Yes.
to get a copy of it. She spotlights local newsmakers in the community doing great things, such as we are spotlighting her today on Praise in the City here on Praise 104.1. What's on the horizons for you?
Well, I feel like the world is just my oyster right now. I'm definitely planning on writing a book, and I'm planning on taking my business endeavors to the next level. I see myself going into the schools and teaching young girls about life skills and just encouragement, and letting young girls know that nothing or no one can stand in their way if they have
All
faith.
things are possible.
Absolutely.
What is your greatest accomplishment so far?
I think my greatest accomplishment so far has been to start something out of nothing. You know, I was employed. I've done great things, went to school, got a master's degree. All that stuff is great. But I think my greatest accomplishment so far is stepping out on faith and not being fearful to the point where I am no longer employed at the government, and I'm living my dream full time. And I think I wouldn't trade it for the world.
All praises to God.
Yes.
We are talking with Cherise Matheson. I keep repeating her name because if you are a church member, or if you are a member of a church and want your pastor to get a phenomenal spotlight by Miss Cherise, they can.
Yes.
Simply going to savvycherise.com.
Yes.
Savvycherise.com. Savvy, that's S-A-A-V-Y.
SAVVY.
I did go to college. I did. You want to spell it for us?
It's SAVVYCHERISE.com.
One more time, please.
www.savvycherise.com.
Got it. SavvyCherise.com.
Yes.
S-A-V-V-Y, Cherise.com, SAVVYCHERISE.com. What do you think some of the biggest things facing the African American press today?
Oh wow. I think we still deal with stereotypes, being pigeonholed, being put in boxes. But I just love with the internet and the ability to do your own thing. I feel like that we can now fight against some of the stereotypes, and racism is very much alive and well in this country. But I feel like now more than ever we have the ability to fight against anything that's trying to oppress us or stop us from what we're here to do.
What about when it comes to African American women? What is in your mind? What is the biggest problem facing Black women today?
Oh wow. I think the biggest problem facing Black women today is separatism.
What is that?
I don't feel like enough Black women are at a place where we're willing to work together. I feel like there's a lot of operating in silos, and I feel like we could be much stronger if some of those walls were broken down and we were able to work together more effectively.
So sisterhood bond is not there in your eyes?
Yes.
Because women are just catty?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you think are some of the biggest problems facing the African American church?
Wow. Well, I feel like one thing of course the economy is a major thing that's affecting the church. I've seen that firsthand as someone who's a member of the board of trustees, and the giving is just not at a level that it has been, and I'm sure that's due to the economy. So that's one major problem facing the African American church. I think another problem is too, I don't think a lot of churches or enough churches are open to receiving all types of people, whether they're gay, lesbian, single mother. you know, had a baby out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like enough churches are accepting of all kinds of people, and I think that's what shies people who aren't what someone would consider 100% saved or, you know, sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. I think that keeps them from wanting to come to churches and learn more about God.
And your church is in Northwest DC?
It's in Southeast DC.
Southeast DC. How has your faith shaped your career as a journalist?
Well, one thing, I believed in this, and because I believed in it, doors started opening that I know it was nothing but God that got me through this door, and it was nothing but God. Even right now in this moment, being on Praising the City, this is nothing but God. So my little bit of faith, my little mustard seed of faith,
went all the way.
Oh my goodness, it's taken me so far. So you don't even have to have a full belief system. Like you can believe a little teeny bit and you can go so far.
What words can you say to someone who want to give up right now?
I would definitely
on their dreams.
I would encourage them to keep the faith and to believe, and any time that you're wavering, I would just encourage them to close their eyes and vision and be reconnected to their vision and constantly focus on where you see yourself, because vision is everything. That's straight out of the Bible. Write the vision and make it plain and keep it in your forefront. And I think with that, as long as you're connected to your vision, then nothing can stop you if you believe.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself continuing in radio. I see myself as an accomplished author. I see myself as the go-to person for personal development for young women in the DMV.
I love it. I love it. And your joy of working with young girls is another passion of yours.
Yes.
How many have you worked with altogether?
Well, actually, when I was in graduate school at the University of Michigan, I started an after-school program called DELTS, and it stood for Developing and Empowering Ladies of Tomorrow.
Developing and Empowering Ladies of Tomorrow.
And that was my first baby. That was the first time I really took hold of mentoring young girls, and there were about 10 girls in my program. Then I did it a second year, so that was 20. So now I would say over 50 young ladies that I have mentored and guided. In addition to, I do peer mentoring as well.
What is peer mentoring?
Well, I have a lot of friends who are in my circle who have struggled with their fears and their faith and not really knowing what they want to do in their lives. So I've been a mentor to them as well, even though we're the same age, and some people who are even older than me, I provide mentoring for them as well.
I think it's phenomenal. You have a little boy.
Yes, I do.
What's his name?
His name is Maurice.
Okay.
Yes.
How old is he?
He's 3 years old. I love him so much.
And he loves music.
Yes, he plays the drums. He has a guitar. He has a full band. He has a keyboard that he calls an organ. He's a church baby.
Aww.
He's in church every Sunday.
You know, when I was pregnant with my son Jonathan, I saw your son, and he loved music. And our little boy now, Jonathan, loves music.
Wow.
It doesn't matter what kind. I keep, every time when I watch him and his excitement comes from hearing music, I think about your son.
Right. It's so funny how if you expose kids to something, they're just all over. That's why it's so important to be mindful about what we expose our kids to, because they pick up on stuff. So I'm glad he's picked up on something that will take him so far in life.
If you can complete this sentence for me, Cherise, what the world needs now is?
What the world needs now is more love, because love is the highest form of energy of all. And I feel like if the world had more love, we would be in a much better place.
President Barack Obama needs to do...
President Barack Obama needs to continue to do what he's doing and keep his head held high and not be moved or shaken by all of the adversity that is trying to come up against him.
My personal opinion of First Lady Michelle Obama is?
My personal opinion of First Lady Michelle Obama is fabulous. I love her. I think she is the epitome of strong black woman, and she's like one of my greatest idols.
If you could be someone for one day, or have the opportunity to interview someone who's recently passed, many years ago, or even recently, who would it be? A great American?
If I had the opportunity to interview someone for one day, it would absolutely be First Lady Michelle Obama. I feel like there's so much to learn from her and her story. And if she wasn't available, then Oprah would definitely be next.
What are your thoughts about Oprah signing off recently?
Oh my gosh, like her legacy and her story is so amazing.
I know.
And I just love that she encourages and inspires people to go after your purpose. And I love that she came from somewhere. She wasn't just put on set like, here you go, here's the Oprah show. She had to come from somewhere. So I'm just so inspired by her story.
Which African American female journalist you admire? Oprah?
Oprah, of course Oprah, but honestly, not because I'm here on your show, but honestly and truly, Sheila, I really admire you as a journalist. Even before I had the opportunity to meet you, I didn't even know what you looked like, but I just loved how you delivered on the Rest Part Morning Show.
Thank you so very much.
So yes, you're a great inspiration.
Thank you so very much. Well, you are an inspiration to me as well for being with me here on Praise in the City, here on Praise 104.1. Cherise Matheson. You can check her out right now by going to SavvyCherise.com. SavvyCherise.com. When I first started hosting the show, I said I would always highlight the African American press because they are not forgotten in my eyes. And Ms. Hughes, our founder and Radio 1 chairperson, TV 1 founder, she too, an African American great woman. Because of Ms. Hughes, the door was open for me and so many others. So I like to have my friends in media from D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, the African American press, join me on Praise in the City here on Praise 104.1 and share with you and let you see how you can get your message across, whether it's in church or a community event you have going on. The African American press is always here to help you. And Cherise Savvy does that so much. SavvyCherise.com, SavvyCherise.com, or people can email you at
SavvyCherise@gmail.com.
or call you at.
You can call me at 202-709-7413.
202?
709-7413.
You know, I don't have any makeup on today. I hope you're not filming me. Have you been filming me?
I actually did get you in a couple shots, and you look fabulous.
I have no lipstick on, no eyeliners. My face is not done, so.
But you look fabulous all the time. You're a new mom. You're doing it. You're up at the crack of dawn every morning.
Keeping it all together.
Yes, and you look great.
As we close out, what words would you like to leave with someone listening right now who really feels like giving up and they don't have a job, they don't know what their life is is spinning out of control? How can you give them comfort?
Well, I would tell them, one, that we all have a purpose. We were all put here for a specific reason. And, you know, God doesn't make any mistakes. So I would tell them to just focus their thoughts and energy on what they do want and not what they don't want.
I like
Focus on what they do have and not worry about what they don't have. And then don't pray and worry. If you're going to worry, you can't pray. So just pray.
Just pray. Cherise Savvy, our special media spotlight guest today here on Praise in the City, here on Praise 104.1. I thank you so graciously for listening and hearing her positive words to you. If you are an aspiring journalist out there, aspiring public relations person, you just think it can never happen for you, well, this young lady is a living testimony that it can happen. She did it. She stepped out on faith, and her blog site and the things she covers in the D.C. metropolitan area is phenomenal. You can do it too. Go to SavvyCherise.com, SavvyCherise.com, or call her at 202-709-7413.
Yes.
Got it. Next time, let me know about this camera thing here. I have no makeup on today. Okay. All right, we have more guests coming up. We're going to talk with representatives from Habitat for Humanity.